What's up, gamers? We're back for another episode of our OP Pick or Ban, this time for patch 10.18. We all know that there are just so many blatantly overtuned champions that are insta pick or ban in solo queue right now, but we're here to share our own list of picks that we think are really good in the current meta. Like our previous videos, we're also going to be going over why they're good and how you can play the champions to their strengths. With that said, you may need more guidance playing these champs than what we're going to go over, so you should definitely check out ProGuides.com. Our coaches are available 24/7 and are happy to help with any questions you might have with these champions and with anything league related. We also offer live courses and recorded lectures made by pro and high challenger players for additional help with concepts such as roaming and team fighting. Make sure you don't miss out and increase your rank now. And the last thing before we start is the question of the day. What champion are you abusing the most this season, and what type of playstyle works best for you? There are definitely way too many ways you can play this game, but we think it's important to find a playstyle that ultimately works for you. Alright, let's start off at the top with our top lane picks. First up, we have Jax. We think that a lot of people don't play him to his full potential, as we see way too many players playing him a bit too passive. We understand that he is a late game monster, but that doesn't mean that he still can't fight in the early levels.
Imagine if I had a real weapon.
His levels 1 and 2 are extremely strong, especially against melee champs, as you can simply walk up and start auto-attacking or stacking your passive. Once minions start focusing you, you can activate your counter strike to dodge all incoming minion damage and autos from your opponent for a nasty trade. Exactly like level 1, you can do the same thing at level 2 after you level up your Q by jumping on them and autoing, finishing the combo with your E into stun. Of course, this is a generic Jax strategy that won't work all the time, but it is a simple game plan that can potentially help you scale a lot faster with good trades and early kills. One last point that we wanted to give is that his level 6 power spike is also something you should not overlook. Not only is the active part of the ult a really effective way to turn 2v1s into your favor, his Q into third auto hit is a super easy combo that lets you win trades harder, and can also be a way to pressure the enemy off the minions since they are threatened by that combo. Alright, so Urgot is our second OP for patch 10.18.
The weak are condemned.
We have chosen him as one of the underrated but overpowered picks in our last video, but we are introducing him once again because he still has a really high win rate at 52% in high elo and is finding a lot of success with a win rate of 53.7% in lower elos. We believe that he has been extremely successful because of how simple his kit is, making it easy to pick him up and play him well. Our high elo friends over at ProGuides have tried him out, and they have agreed that after finishing Black Cleaver and Death's Dance, he is a heavy damage dealing but unkillable monster. In a team fight, you pretty much just run around with your W on and use your ult when someone is low for a sick AoE fear. With that said, we suggest farming it out safely until you get those two items. Make sure you use your Q for quick and easy trades, and don't use your E unless you have a good idea on where the enemy jungler is, as that skill is also your escape tool. In the jungle, our first pick is Graves. In addition to his really fast clear speed, he is an absolute monster when he is ahead.
I ain't got time to bleed.
He becomes an even better pick against a heavy AD comp because of his passive, allowing him to stack a bunch of armor. On Graves, you pretty much want to power farm and take control of the jungle by keeping up your E stacks for any skirmishes. Once you get your jungle item power spike, you can win almost any fight because you will be super tanky, deal a bunch of damage with your full combo, and be slippery with your dash and ult that knocks you back. With that in mind, don't be afraid to counter jungle as you win most jungle matchups and can dash out if things get dicey. One last tip for you viewers is to make sure that you kite the jungle camp towards your next camp when clearing to have a faster and more efficient clear. You will be able to maintain your passive stacks a lot more easily and have an overall faster clear in order for you to be more relevant in the game than the opposing jungler. Oh, and make sure you position yourself in a way that allows you to hit multiple monsters with your shotgun. That will take some practice, but that will also increase your clear speed to get you to that monster mid-game spike. Kayn is what we chose to be our second OP pick for the jungle.
What does Rost mean anyway?
Obey.
As you may have guessed, the reason why he's really strong is because he is simply annoying to play against a lot of the time. His super fast clear speed in combination with his ganking patterns make it really hard to play against. Plus, he can snowball really hard if he can pick up some random kills and become unkillable if you don't have the right team comp that can stop his playstyle. Essentially, you want to power farm the jungle, making sure you use your AoE spells to hit all the monsters for an efficient clear, and look for a gank on the lanes where you can get your form stacks. If you want red Kayn, camp the lane that has a melee laner, and camp the lane with a ranged laner if you want blue Kayn. A TLDR on what form to choose for each game is you should be red Kayn against a team with a bunch of tanky champions, and blue Kayn for a team with a bunch of squishy champs, so you can easily assassinate them. Later in the game, you want to look for those knockups to disrupt the fight if you're playing as red Kayn and assassinate the squishies that are side laning or when they are rotating as blue Kayn. Alright, so our first pick for mid is Ahri due to her recent changes. Ahri is already in a pretty good spot, sitting a bit above a 51% win rate in all ranks, but the change that gives her a burst of movement speed with her W makes her a lot more slippery than she already is.
I know what they desire.
Her W also doing extra damage to low health minions is a nice addition, making it easier for her to last hit and making her wave clear more efficient. With that in mind, you typically want to power farm on Ahri until 6 or until you get your first back. Ahri has low base damage, and killing your opponent is usually only possible if they mess up really bad. Where Ahri shines is during the mid game, where she can get super easy picks with her ult and charm. One really good charm can pretty much win you a team fight, so don't hesitate to E-flash onto an important target if you're playing for an important objective such as Baron or Dragon Soul. One tip that we have for you guys is to not rush your ult. Ahri's ult duration is quite long at around 10 seconds, so don't panic and use it all at the same time. What you want to do instead is to use it wisely, using it only to reposition yourself to get a better angle for your Q and charm.
The truth lies in darkness.
So Zed has one of the highest win rates out of mid-pool currently, and that's because he's definitely really strong in the current meta. He's a really good pick into teams that don't really have a point-and-click CC that can pin him down, as he can be super slippery with his W and R shadows. In addition, he can side lane really well, which is crucial for mid laners as you want to shove side waves safely. And as Zed, it is usually pretty safe, as you can outplay your opponents if they try to contest the wave, or you can Ghost Blade and W out of danger. After shoving in the wave, you can run around the map looking for kills, and then return back to the wave you were in if you couldn't find any unlucky wanderers. For the early game, you definitely want to stay as healthy as possible against any matchup, but more so for ranged matchups. You can start looking for aggressive trades starting at level 2 with your Q and W, but after level 3, your bread and butter combo is using your W and buffering E to slow them, and finishing it off with a Q. If you manage to land enough of these, you can look for an all-in by switching to your Shadow and looking for auto attacks into an Ignite. One last tip for this pick is putting your W down before you ult on someone. When you're looking for an all-in on an opponent that has some sort of hard CC, you want to use your Ghost Blade to get in range and then W before using your ult. When your ult finishes channeling, you can use your W to switch positions to dodge any form of CC, since Zed's ult positions you right behind the target. This is one simple and easy way to trick and outplay your opponents as Zed. This one is probably one that isn't surprising to any of you viewers. She took a small hit on patch 10.17, but she is definitely one of the strongest AD picks in the current meta due to her oppressive laning from her long attack range.
Me? Miss? Not by a long shot.
Getting a substantial lead in the early game, especially in the bot lane, can easily win you games since games are a lot faster paced in the current meta. Imagine a scenario where you and your support take down bot turret at 12 minutes in the game and you rotate mid to a Kassadin that still hasn't finished his first item. That's the kind of situation you want to be in and is definitely possible with this pick. During laning phase, you want to constantly be looking for harass onto your opponents and denying them CS while you're doing so, and constantly shove them under turret. This allows you to take complete bot side vision and objective control because you can move to the jungle first, as your opponents will be stuck under turret clearing waves. This helps your jungler secure any bot side objectives more safely and can easily play bot side for any advantages. Make sure that when you do shove your opponents in, you do it safely with good vision or with a good understanding of where the jungler is. The worst case scenario is you falling behind from a cheesy gank you did not expect and not being able to be oppressive in lane anymore. So we think Ashe is OP and is a good pick into Caitlyn, as she can contest her range with her W and hard engaging with her ult.
Do not confuse mercy for weakness.
We think she's especially good because her overall kit has a bunch of utility that you and your team can abuse to win games. If you are in a dangerous spot where you can be easily ganked, you can simply throw a hawk shot to confirm where the jungler is, or at least deduct where they could be. This allows you and your team to play accordingly, playing safer or putting a ward if the jungler is on their side, or playing as aggressive as you want if the jungler is on the opposite side of the map. A simple game plan you can have for laning phase is whittling down on your opponents using your W and shoving your opponent in. When the wave bounces back, you can ask for a jungle gank and use your R when they come to secure an easy kill. For later parts of the game, make sure you're constantly looking to pick off out-of-position enemies for free kills, which can lead to free turrets or free objectives. Keep in mind that when you reach late game with Ashe, you can win games off of a really good pick with your R, so that is definitely something you should be looking for. Lux has been seeing a lot of play, and there's a good reason for it. She's a really good pick in pretty much all levels of play. With the most recent buff with her flat mana cost and her W, we think she is an even stronger pick.
Home is where the spark is
Something you should either pick up or ban. With that said, the main reason why she's super good is because she's extremely obnoxious with her shields, and her snare is a simple way to get easy kills or huge chunks with very little risk. Her W and the Guardian rune makes it so that trading with Lux becomes extremely hard for the opponent. To add on, you will always have the opportunity to get some massive harass in, or possibly get a kill with a simple snare into an E-ult combo, pretty much making it illegal for your opponents to walk up without getting punished. Of course, you will need to be pretty good with landing your Q if you want to keep killing your opponents. If you aren't the best with landing your Qs, that's fine because you can always land your W on your teammates. Right. She is definitely a champion that allows you to take on a carry role, as you will pretty much build full AP after getting your core support items. So the last champion we have for you is none other than your favorite Steam Golem, Blitzcrank.
Precisely.
There isn't much to talk about when it comes to Blitzcrank other than the fact that he can solo carry games by getting those 1 or 2 teamfight winning hooks. But before you get to that point in the game, we need to go over some key points that make Blitzcrank top tier. Our first tip is that a good Blitzcrank knows when to go for a hook and when not to go for a hook. Remember, just having that ability up already creates a lot of pressure, as the enemy will have to constantly move around to dodge the hook. Good positioning, which can be described as being in a position where you don't get auto-attacked for free, can give your ADC a lot of breathing room to CS, as well as pressuring your opponent off the minion wave. Ultimately, you can grant your ADC a nice CS lead and bot lane prio for bot lane vision and objective control. Our second tip is to make sure that you roam around the map when you have nothing to do and impact the rest of the map. Your W allows you to quickly walk up to any laner and go for a knock-up into an almost guaranteed hook for a successful gank. Now that we mentioned that, if you're close enough to an enemy champion, you can look for a knock-up with your E first into a guaranteed grab to secure a kill, as your hook can be dodged while your E cannot be. Of course, we've only mentioned a couple of champions here and just a small guideline on how to play them. If you want to be able to master these champions faster, we definitely suggest you guys check out our coaching services at ProGuides.com. Our coaches will be able to hammer down all the nitty-gritty stuff about any champion you may be thinking of picking up. And don't forget, we also have a bunch of live courses and additional guides written and given by pro and challenger players such as Double Lift and Zyrene. But with that all said, we hope this video helped you in some way. Thanks so much for watching, and good luck out on the Rift.